What is up, fam? Hey, sisters, I got another little bit of grown folks' business to talk to you about. I get this question quite a bit, and it has to do with what telling our, we're teaching our own children about having children, about becoming parents. So I'm gonna just shoot you just a few things, and I want you to think about it. Okay. So in the black community, I want to say this right. We are matrilineal. And what I mean by that is we're also matriarchal. Um, though we try to fit in with the patriarchy of white people or Hispanic people or Asian people or whatever, that is not really conducive to ensuring that our elderly, our children, those who um, are disabled or need our services, and just humans in general are being treated with equality, protection, and fairness. It doesn't work like that in a patriarchy. It definitely doesn't work like that with a capitalism and all that. So here's what I here's what I'm wanting to tell you about what I did growing up, raising my children, because I wasn't, of course, born from, like the sea or some shit. Um, I wasn't born full grown like any of the rest of you. I had to grow. I'm still growing, I'm still evolving. And as the matriarch and black woman, I had this family. Okay. Yes, I am married. My husband's a wonderful dude and all of that. And I run this shit. And I really feel like, sisters, we need to stop playing with that. Um, the fact that we are highly educated, highly creative, brilliant, beautiful, everybody's trying to wear our skin, be us, appropriate our shit. We need to stop playing with um, some culture or non culture, really, that doesn't fit us. It does not. Okay. So, for those of you at church, don't start because I'm not trying to hear it. Okay. So, um, my son's 8 years older than my daughter. Um, he also has two other sisters and a little brother, and his other sister is actually his first sister is actually 5 months older than him, because his father, um, that I was supposed to get married to, actually didn't tell me or their mom that he was starting a family with both of us. Okay, like we didn't know about each other, and it it was more than difficult. I'm not going to get into the specifics of it, but what I'm going to say is the great thing about her was that she was just the sweetest, most wonderful person. And that we were able to see beyond his bullshit and actually make sure over time that our children knew each other, were in each other's lives, talked to each other, and of course they do. Okay. I feel like the men's roles primarily are to protect, provide, keep us safe, and do yard work, damn it. Okay. So, that is important because I bring the actual, um, more intellectual piece to this, as does my daughter. So, not that my son isn't smart, he's a smart young man, and how he chooses to use it is different than what we do. It's how our family is set up, in general, not just myself. So, um, there is this saying in the black community that we raise our daughters and we coddle our sons. And I think in part that's true, and I don't think it's any different in a way, for me either. I I feel like, um, there are just certain things that he needs to do despite, you know, the differences in how he processes information than what my daughter does. So he wasn't allowed to hit or raise his voice to his sister or me. And his sister was made to respect him with the same rules. Now, her being 8 years younger, we do have this thing sometimes that if there's a male in our family, this is very true of white cultures and Hispanic cultures, which I know more about than I do other cultures, that boys are like really coddled. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't have to do much. You might, when they get older, put them out to cut the grass. But my son had to do all that other shit too. He had to take care of a household, because you need to learn how to take care of a household no matter what you slinging between your legs. Okay, so this whole thing where we act like the baby can do no wrong. So then in that case, that would have been my daughter. She could do no wrong. Or the boys in your family can do whatever because they're boys and they're older. And that'd be fuck no. Can't do none of that shit. No, my son could not have his friends spend the night at our house. His friends were 8 years older than my daughter. That's a situation we don't never have to worry about because you ain't staying here. No, my daughter's little friends couldn't spend the night over at our house because we ain't gonna have no situation the other way. We ain't gonna have it. So my son wasn't interested, of course, in some little 8-year-old girl or 9-year-old girl, or whatever the fuck it was. And we're not gonna have a problem with a child saying that he is either, because you ain't gonna be here. Okay. So I also taught them the truth, both of them, about me, my bad behavior, my bad choices in the past. And of course, whether you guys believe it or not, your kids know you, because you can't keep that mask up, and most of us don't at home. They know exactly who you are, the shit you do, how you roll, all that shit. They usually know you better than you willing to know yourself. I mean, you want to get a clear view, ask them. And don't take offense, just fucking listen, and they'll tell you exactly who you are, the shit you've done, and the shit you don't admit to doing. So I didn't lie to them. I didn't hide who I was. I didn't hide the mistakes that I did, because I think that's important. In the black community, I feel like we hide stuff. In a way, it's we think we want to say we're protecting, but at the same time, we're causing the next generation to make the same fucked up choices and decisions that the generation before them and before them and before them made. So the only way to dispel that is to educate people and be honest. But you have to be real with yourself to do that. So I taught and educated them both, and I showed them, not just taught them, about taking responsibility for my choices and the outcomes, and my choices that hurt and negatively affected them. And like, I had to admit and acknowledge to my children when I transgressed them. I wronged them. And that means, again, you got to listen. So I had to right those wrongs. And the way that you right a wrong is to work on changing your behavior. So I had to work on changing my behavior. And those bad choices and decisions that I made, and those bad behaviors that hurt them or caused them, emotional hurt or whatever. So, because you can't, this is very, I want you guys to really get this, ladies, sorry. because you can't talk your way out of some shit you behaved your way into. Okay? And that's a problem for us, because we have a hierarchical thing in our own culture. When what you don't question us, you don't, none of that shit. Shut the hell up. Just do what you told. Okay? And at the same time, we need to be responsible and accountable. This is the part we got to pick up about our choices, our decisions that had negative and fucked up effects on our children. Okay? And our inability to listen to the truth of something, no matter what age the person who's telling you that truth is. So I don't give a fuck if they're 3 years old. If they telling you the truth, they telling you the fucking truth. Okay? We are also big on about truth and don't lie and all this other shit. But except we do that all the time. Oh, if you want Santa to come, you have to act right because Santa sees everything that you do. Get out of here. The only white guy with a beard in this motherfucker is my husband. And before him, I was raising kids. Okay? Alone. Working. 12-hour shifts and shit. I'm a nurse by trade. Okay? I'm a whole full RN by the time I was 20. So to sit here and act like somebody else is doing something that they're fucking not, when I'm the one paying for them to have Christmases or Kwanzas or the White Rabbit Day or whatever the fuck it is. Okay? So I just don't think as black women we have room to tell fairy tales or lie by omission or any of that shit with our kids. We don't have room for that shit. And we need to be honest with ourselves. So, another thing that I taught them is that you can't change others, especially grown-ass people. Okay? That's the main thing I hear. This person's doing this and we have a child together, and I just wish that they would do more of this and that. Well, you can't change that person any more than that person can change you. Okay? The only person that can change you is you. Now, I've said this a million times. You might not like your choices, and you have them. Okay? So you have free will, and you can learn to choose your behavior, your responses. You don't necessarily choose your feelings or thoughts, because those come and go in your head, and a feeling is a feeling. But you can choose whether you're going to be just a reactionary fucking person, or you're going to slow your mind down. Even if it's only 30 seconds. That's how I started. I would slow my mind down for 30 seconds and go, okay, what did this bitch say? Okay, because the sister's playing in my head the whole time. So I'm like, oh, this bitch, okay, she want me to beat her ass today. Okay, white woman, if you don't shut the fuck up. So I had to learn to slow that down and actually decide, what am I feeling? Where is this coming from? Is this, and I worked out these traumas with therapy, with working on my spirituality, with taking responsibility and accountability for myself. Okay? I worked on my emotional state, and I am literally, as my daughter said, that shit crazy, mom, like you would come down the street with a bat. Yep. Sure would. Grown ass motherfuckers, you want to say what? What you got? So, it has taken me a lot of years, but I don't want it to take that long for you. And every single thing that I'm saying is also what my children saw me do. So that's important. That shit where we go, do what I tell you, not what I do. Stop that shit. You want your children to learn how to be respectful, then you need to learn how to be respectful to them, because they're human beings. That don't mean they get away with shit, because I'll whoop ass. There's about 4 things you cannot do as a child over here. Okay? There's just four, well, maybe five different things that I will not tolerate. That ain't happening. And I remember asking them when they were little, so would you like this to get physical? Because they understood by three what the fuck that meant. Okay. And they would go, no, I would not. Oh, so you might want to change how you rolling right now, you know? And they would choose to change, or I would be their consequence. Hey. So we are showing our children how to roll. My daughter and my son did not see any motherfucker put their hands on me, get away with talking shit to me. None of that shit. I will go toe to toe on in the fucking street. When they say I went down the street with a bat so many times down alleys, like, I'm not fucking around. You don't get to do any of that shit with me. And the importance of that for us as black women, especially those of us who are single black women, is that we, this isn't for my responsible, accountable brothers, but for those brothers that are not accountable, not responsible, ain't nobody holding you to it, then we as black women have to be the sole protector and safety net for our children. So motherfuckers can't think that they can roll up on me. Because then how are my children going to feel safe? And are they going to grow up thinking that this is how you fucking treat a black woman? So you understand what I'm saying? Like, this is important shit. It matters how you roll. So for all you brothers out there, or you white people out there that got something to say, shut the fuck up. Okay? Because I'm not talking to you, number one. Number two, you're not out there protecting us as black women. And you know why I know that? Because I can give you one statistic. Just one. Black women are dying 2 to 3 times more giving birth to children than white women do. So where the brothers at? What you doing? How come you ain't putting together marches like we do for you? So don't talk to me about, oh, you're too masculine. Motherfucker, I'm everything I need to be. Okay? And my children had to see that strength, but they also had to be cultivated in their own power. Not just their strength and resilience, but their own power. And I'll also say that different children, every person is different. And that goes for children especially. We don't always know what personality child we're going to get. Okay? So we have to be able to transition with how that particular child processes information. And I can tell you my children are totally different. They're both good people. They're just totally different about how they go about things, you know? My little one, my daughter, straight up goddess born. Okay? Straight up goddess born. At 21, she's a marvel. I'm not fucking with you. So, you know, and my son does not hold back from having my and her back. Not for, nope. If he pulls up, even though he's never raised his voice at either one of us or whatever, it's fucking on. If you fucking with either one of us, and we call in the troops, my husband and my son will be in fucking attendance, because I think this is part of what we have to do as black women. You know, not that black men are supposed to be served and we're supposed to shrink ourselves and that we're supposed to be their helpmeet or some bullshit about coming from their rib or some shit. Listen, the real down to earth thing is, if you don't have women, you cannot create human beings. So if you ain't protecting sisters, I don't know what the fuck you doing. Okay? And if you're not protecting your children, because that's the other statistic I'm going to give you, black children are dying 50% more than white children during birth and right after. So, again, we're the brothers, because we're in our weakest state as women when we're giving birth. So where you at, brothers? Because you're supposed to be protecting. Okay? So I got to do that and give birth and then get up and nurture and feed my child from my body while you ain't doing shit. And you want me to kiss your what? Get the fuck out of here. Mm-mm. All right, so let's move on. Um, so I told you that I think that we need to, as black women, we have gone through traumas, many of us, and we're still traumatized. If you haven't dealt with that, if your only answer is, well, Jesus will fix it, Jesus will take the wheel. Listen, last time what I know about Jesus is he couldn't drive. He never drove in his life. So what I'm telling you is God gave you free will. That means you have choices. So we need to deal with our traumas, and part of doing that, just like you would go to the doctor for whatever, a broken arm or whatever, we need to have therapy. We need to be educated, not just taught. Teaching is what the society does. Teaching is what elementary and middle school and high school does, and some colleges. Okay, education is dispelling ignorance. Okay, so you need therapy. You need to deal with the traumas that you have. You need tools to help you do that. And therapies, there are different therapies. One size does not fit all. Just because one isn't working does not mean you stop there. You get to the one that will work for you. Like CBT worked for me, you know. And then I went on to get a degree in psychology, so I really understood what the fuck was happening here and how that was affecting my children. So see, that's another thing, because we don't want to admit to our mental illnesses and things that were even passed down, or the traumas that happened, because we were told, a lot of us as children, to hide for adults their fucking bad behavior and traumatic behavior that caused us endless nightmares. So you tell us not to lie, but then you create an environment in which you force us to lie as children. And then we take that on as adults. We take it to the next level as adults. And a lot of times, without, not that we're not conscious of it, I'm not going to say that, but a lot of times we will end up turning around and doing the same fucking thing on another level to our own children. So I wanted to not have that happen with my children. I don't want them repeating the shit I did. I want them to do better than me. I want them to be better than me in every way. Okay? So it was important what I showed them I was willing to do to be better. To not be better than the person next to me, but to be better than I was the day before. And to tell them the truth and say I was fucking wrong, and not just say that shit, but then do something about changing my fucking behavior. So that's what I expect for them should they become parents. So I also educated both of them as they were growing up on self-study, self-management, and their feelings. You get to have your feelings, okay? Your feelings are yours. And other people are not responsible for your feelings. They may have intended to help you feel that way, and they're not responsible for your feelings. And you're not responsible for theirs. Your thoughts and your feelings are yours. They're your responsibility. You're accountable to them. Because it's you who gets to choose how you're going to respond to your feelings. Are you going to act in line with them? Or are you going to act in opposition to them? I don't fucking know. It's the decision. The decision is yours. But the fact is, we have to see ourselves. We have to study ourselves. Because all of the blaming and shaming of other people is unnecessary. Unfucking necessary, and we ain't got time for it. Motherfuckers are killing us literally in our sleep. All right? So we don't have time for dumb shit. We have to prepare the generation coming after us to be parents of the next generation. Okay? And you should be starting that from their childhood, showing them how it's done. A lot of what I learned, of course, was from my grandparents because they raised me first. From my grandmother came and got me when at 3 weeks old. She came in when I was 2 weeks old, but she brought me back to North Carolina when I was 3 weeks old. And I lived with her and my grandfather till I was almost 8. I knew my mother and father were, but fuck them. Like they were not responsible or accountable. They were providers, but they weren't not. Other than that, really not responsible or accountable in a lot of ways. So that's not what I wanted to do different. So I educated myself so I could. And I also made sure they understood that I expected this from them. Okay? So both of them were taught not to have children and how not to have children as preteens. Like I didn't wait or say weird shit like, oh well, shouldn't be having sex anyway. Oh, that child is just so nasty. They're just so fast. And that's some bullshit. Listen, I taught my children that unless you trying to change diapers or some shit, this is what needs to occur. They didn't want to hear it. They were young. I understand that because they were like 10 or 11 when I actually started talking about the responsibilities of becoming a parent and how not to become a parent. Using protection, those things. By the time they got to be teenagers, I was educating them more deeply. They were getting some education from school on that. And I was educating them about their body, their hormones. I mean, because kids are kids, but Lord, when they start teenagehood, woo, children, you see yourself so many different ways. Ooh, you remember the shit you did. And so because I didn't hide that, they didn't feel the need to hide shit from me, really, So I taught both of them how to go to the doctor. I went with them, of course, for most of their childhood until they got to be teenagers. Then I started, I would go in the room with them, but at a point I started standing outside of the room. I just need to let the doctors and the nurses know they are very precious. So what you need to do is mind your tone, mind your behavior, and listen to them about what's going on with them. Thank you. And that's what I taught them from the other side. That those people were supposed to be on their team. Okay? So they could give them options, and then we would make choices about those options. Okay. So they were taught that when they chose to have heterosex, that they were really saying by their behavior that they were willing to become parents. And what I mean by that is that they're going to put that child first. And they would be on their child's team. So the other part to that I would explain and make clear to them was, first of all, if you get with someone who doesn't fully understand or want to be a parent or put their y'all's child first, then I don't know what to tell you, because you're not going to change that. Okay? So you need to be careful about who you choose. Okay? I wasn't told some of these things. Some of these things I found out for myself. But literally, you need to learn to trust yourself enough and your instincts and what's going on with you to take a look at a person, because my children were also taught to watch behavior. They weren't just taught to manage their own behaviors, they were taught to watch other people's behavior. And I gave them this rule: one time somebody does something, okay, I'll take that as an incident. Second time somebody does something, that could be a coincidence. Probably not. But I can tell you, by the third time, all I got to do is sit and watch. If they doing whatever it is, that is a fucking behavioral pattern. And that's who they really are. Okay? Simple as that. Now, they might be able to hide some shit and whatever, but if you really honest with yourself, you will see all the signs, the red flags, whatever you want to call it. You will see it, but you need to be honest with yourself. Okay? So again, it comes back to truth telling. And then, are my children gonna really be able to put the emotions, the spirits, the protection, the safety, and make sure that their child is number one, number two, and number three all the way on? Then you might want to rethink how you're rolling. Okay? So, not only did they know how to use protection, by the time they were teenagers, they were getting protection. Just because, one of them decided not to, and the other one decided that they were going to have sex when they were 16. I don't know, 17, something like that. Whatever. 15. Okay. Whatever it was, I just had to make sure that they understood what was going on with their bodies and the bodies of other people, and had respect for themselves and had respect for other people. And I will not, nor have I ever supported either one of my children's bad behaviors. Okay? And I don't ask them to support my bad behavior. Okay? So, and I definitely will enforce the loving, amazing, joyful, balanced lives of any children they choose to procreate and have. So that means that I'm not going to be putting up with their shit. I'm not letting my son walk away from his child. No, brother. That ain't happening. No, sir. And if you picked somebody that's not trying to do that, or you two can't get along, that's not my fucking problem. You on the same team now. You on my grandchild's team. Okay? You got to be first as a child at growing up. Your sister got to be first growing up. So the same thing goes for her too. Until you ready to put a whole nother human being ahead of you and be on their team, like I'm on your team, because I'm switching teams, because I own the ball field, actually. So I own the whole team. So I'm just saying, till you ready to do that, then don't fucking do it. Because I'm going to make you be accountable. And I'm not going to tolerate your bullshit. And you ain't going to sit here and make choices and put your children in precarious, emotional, spiritual, physical, sexual, whatever situations. You ain't going to do it. You ain't going to do it. Because I still got the bet. You ain't going to do it. Because children don't get to make choices about us as adults and our fucked up behaviors and our fucked up choices. So as that's happened, my children, both of them, have chosen so far not to have any children. They're like, no, that's a lot of responsibility. I would have to do this and that. I can't even imagine it. Blah, blah, blah. This and this and that. You sure in the fuck will. Because I'm not tolerating anything less. So black women, those of us who have brothers, cousins who are male, uncles, fathers, sons, they are responsible for their behavior. They are to be accountable for their behavior. They don't get to just walk away from some shit. Okay? And so I can't get along. And I don't like her. And blah, blah, blah. And she won't let me see it. But you can't stop me from seeing my kids if I'm doing everything I need to do in their lives. The only reason I would be stopped is if I was really fucking up my kids. And then I should be stopped. Okay? I need to be held accountable. I need to be responsible. So just like they saw me doing every single day, all day, 36 hours, 8 days a week, that's what the fuck I expect and better from them with their children. So, yeah, there'll be nobody coming before my grandchildren. And if you bring some fool into my life, I'm gonna treat them like the fool they are. And I'm still gonna put my grandchildren first, and all of y'all can kiss my ass. Because children don't get to choose for adults. Okay? They don't. And so you need to understand the responsibility and what it means to be accountable as a parent. Or don't fucking make children. Because it's not necessary to even make children as males. Okay? And women, you create children in your body. So you know this shit starts day fucking 0 for you. That's what day it starts. Okay? -1. Because that your body then belongs to that child. All right? Okay, so again, my thing is truly thinking hard about the protection, the respect of your child's body and the person that they're partnering up with. I would want them to really understand that. And it is imperative that they understand that once they decide to have children, they are then on their child's team. And I expect them to be accountable and responsible and act and behave accordingly. All right. Let me know what you think. Share.